Ren is woken up by a girl named Lily who asks him for directions to a boarding house he owns. He reveals he's the landlord and he takes her to his house. Suddenly, Lily tells him to leave. He refuses before he sees her hair become white while she gains ears and a tail. Another girl with vampire-like abilities attacks her, but Lily manages to ward her off. She transforms back, undecided about becoming his tenant, but Ren doesn't want her to live on the streets, so he takes her home. The next day, he sees a transformed Lily scared of his cat, Raleigh. Suddenly, it gets cold before the girl from last night shows up and takes Ren away from Lily. To his surprise, she thinks he's kidnapped by Lily and tells him to run away. The two girls fight before a mad Ren gets them to stop. The vampiric girl reveals that she's also interested in becoming a tenant before her stomach growls. While eating, the other girl introduces herself as Vivian, a noble in the blood sect, and she reveals she can only afford to rent at Ren's house as she has no money. Later, it turns out Vivian lost her rent money, but Ren lets her stay as she promises to cook for them. While trying out her food, Lily brings him his ringing phone, and he answers. Ren is told by the unknown caller that he has a work interview. Later, after arriving at the stated location, Ren gets sucked into an upside-down view of a building in the sky. He's led to a woman named Raven, who tells him she's his future boss. While eating cup ramen, she tells him he's chosen by Space, an affiliate department of the Sealing Empire, tasked to govern all universes. He had passed the preliminary exam when he reacted nicely to his two new tenants. Raven tells him that his main job is to board tenants who are special outcasts like Lily and Vivian and keep them away from trouble. If he refuses the offer, his memory will be erased and his tenants will be taken away. She entices him with salaries and insurance, and Ren eventually signs the contract. Back at home, he tells Vivian and Lily about his new job. Though Vivian is doubtful of Raven's intentions, she at least thinks his new employer is not an ally of the demon hunters, who are enemies of outcasts. Later, while Ren is napping, he enters another world with two moons and gets chased by a pack of big wolves. He's about to be attacked when he's woken up by Lily. In his hand is some fur from the wolf in the dreams, which the two girls then examine. Lily doesn't recognize the scent, while Vivian thinks that what she had earlier was not just a dream. Vivian tries to give him protection using her blood magic, but it doesn't work on him. Suddenly, Raven calls him, telling him to come to her office the next morning for an urgent task. At her office, Raven gives Ren a personal data terminal that will be handy during dangerous missions. Alarmed, he informs her he can't fight, but she only assures him that if he does die, they will find his spirit a new body, making him essentially immortal. Afterward, she pushes him into a coffin-like capsule to have him injected with every enhancement factor he needs. The capsule spins before being enveloped in lightning and disappears. Ren wakes up in the same world with two moons from his dream. The device, called Terminal, reveals that they are in the dream dimension, a parallel space to the real world. Suddenly, Ren hears a noise, and the same wolves from his dreams appear. He manages to fend off one, but two wolves bite him. However, he's unharmed because of the rigid shield protecting him. The wolves howl, summoning their leader. Ren runs, but he's soon caught by a large wolf who tries to bite him. However, his shield protects him again, breaking the beast's teeth. It starts to speak, surprising Ren, and the wolf asks him about his identity. He states he's a traveler, but the wolf isn't convinced. When the wolf wants to feed him to his pack's kids, Ren manages to make a deal, saying he'll find the wolf a dentist if he's brought to the closest human settlement. After riding the wolf's back, Ren enters a deserted house where he finds a piece of metal with inscriptions. Upon touching it, his body glows and he's teleported back to the enhancement center where Raven is waiting for him. He complains that the only skill he got was Rigid Shield, but Raven assures him that he will gain other skills as his body adapts to the changes. Before he leaves, Raven gives him tickets to Europe where he's to meet a new tenant. She tells him that everything is paid for and to bring his two current tenants with him. On the plane, Ren reveals he doesn't know a thing about the new tenant, only that he lives in a place called Yorkford. Later, while eating, Vivian senses something through her patrolling summon, and she tells the others that they should leave. Suddenly, a man named Nang asks if he can sit with them. Ren asks him if he knows where Yorkford is, and the other replies he does. He reveals that Yorkford has been a wasteland for centuries, and the place is teeming with ghosts. That evening, Ren thinks that the new tenant might be connected to the ghosts. Vivian approaches him, saying there might be a demon hunter at the hotel they're staying at, whom she thinks is Nang. Ren asks her how to recognize demon hunters when a voice from a neighboring balcony speaks up. It's Nang, who claims that he is indeed a demon hunter. Inside their room, Nang proves his claim through a demon incantation. He asks them about their real identities as they know Yorkford. Ren assures him that he's a normal person, but Nang is doubtful. They agree that they'll go to Yorkford together the next day with Nang as their guide. When their visitor left, Vivian says that Nang might be after their new tenant. The next day, on the train ride going to Yorkford, they watch the news of a man sharing his experiences about the ghosts of Yorkford Castle. At the hotel, they are greeted by the man whom they saw on the TV earlier. He tells them with an evil smile that there are no rooms available, but he will find a way to provide them with a room. When Ren enters their room, Nang gets surprised and almost drops the picture he's looking at. Ren is baffled that the picture is only showing the girl's backside, and Nang reveals the girl is his sister, for whom he became a demon hunter. Later, Vivian wakes Ren and tells him that Nang has already left. Vivian urges that they should catch up to them before something happens to their new tenant. The three quickly head for the castle. Lily falls asleep while running, and she crashes into a rock, which then reveals a hidden tunnel that Vivian declares is a shortcut to the castle. They enter through the tunnel, and eventually they reach the castle. The three continue to explore the area, and they see Nang from afar. The three of them agree to avoid him just to be safe. Inside the church, Lily tells Ren that she can smell another human aside from him. Vivian approaches the cross and reveals the text engraved on it that's written in a foreign language. According to Terminal, it tells of an instruction, which they then follow, revealing a set of stairs that leads down. Terminal then confirms to them that the new tenant is near. They go down below the church and follow the path, where Lily can smell humans. Soon they get tired, and while resting they hear a noise. When they discover it's Angus, Vivian disguises herself and the others as ghosts. Ren makes the hotel owner admit his secrets, and they discover he fabricated the ghost events to keep his business alive. Ren then tells him to leave. Lily notices letters written on the walls, which Vivian identifies as letter runes, magic letters that suppress evil, and is commonly used by demon hunters. It says, "The place seals evil, and if a seal gets broken, the guardians will awake." Vivian touches the letters on the wall, and it reacts to her magic. The place shakes, and a trap is triggered. Ren casts his shadow over them before he and the girls run. A big round rock heads towards them, but they successfully avoid. But Lily runs after it, forcing the other two to follow. They fall into a pit where Vivian and Lily start to hallucinate about gold and food, but Ren stops them, and they're woken up from their delusion. The three follow the path in front of them before they trigger a wall of runes, activating another trap, but somehow Ren nullifies it. The three attempt to rest, but suddenly ghost knights rise from the floor, chasing the three. Lily defeats a knight and takes its sword. There's something written on it, which makes them realize that the ghosts are actually guardians that make sure the seal on the magic stone is not removed. When Ren looks up, he spots the magic stone they were talking about. He despairs, and Vivian comforts him that as long as the magic stone is not hit by an external force, it will be fine. But before she can finish her sentence, one of the chains that holds the magic stone snaps, making it hang unevenly. After the ceiling is blasted away, the ghost knights move toward them. Nang appears, and he deals with some of the knights. Vivian tells her two companions to buy her time while she generates her powers for attacking. Lily uses her strength, while Ren uses his rigid shield to protect Vivian. Just as Nang runs out of arrows, Vivian is finally ready. She aims her powers at the ghost knights, but before it hits them, the red magic stone absorbs her magic. It opens a portal, summoning a big demon, who then takes Ren and Nang away. At a clearing, the demon releases the two men, just as the two girls arrive. Unexpectedly, the demon starts to speak, asking if they're all right. Startled, Vivian gathers her powers in preparation for an attack, summoning a blood moon that affects Lily, but the demon speaks again, asking Ren if he's his landlord. The group is stunned while Terminal congratulates them for finding the new tenant. The demon introduces himself as Zax, and he asks Ren for the contract he must sign to become a tenant. Lily instantly becomes friends with the demon, while Ren is concerned about the ghost knights back at the castle. Hearing him, Zax sends a big meteor to the castle, eliminating all the knights. Suddenly, they hear the ghost hunters in the woods, and Ren requests Zax to transform into a human. He complies, and a big, bald guy shows up in the demon's place. Ren is on his way to see Raven when he sees a busking girl with a beautiful voice. She waves at him, but he doesn't tip her, which makes the girl think he's stingy. At the mansion, a grumpy Raven greets him. She's annoyed that the new tenant has been dropped light years away from Earth by the outsourcing companies, and she tells him it's his job to bring the tenant back. She tells him she'll upgrade his terminal so he can teleport to Kuiper Station, where he'll take a spacecraft to the target planet. As the planet is covered with oceans, Raven says she prepared a sea expert to accompany him. The busking girl from earlier arrives, and Raven tells him she's his new tenant as well, shocking the both of them. At his house, the girl introduces herself as Nang Wuyu, a siren who grew up on the land. Ren tells his tenant that Wuyu will be coming with him to fetch another tenant in space, and he needs another person to come with him. Zax says he's been on a spaceship, and Ren picks him as his last companion. The next day, Terminal teleports the trio to Kuiper Station. They are welcomed by the station guide, who leads them to their spacecraft, and their plane takes off to space. Later, when they're finally near their target planet, Terminal urges them to quickly head for their smaller aircraft so they can leave. With Terminal as their pilot, their aircraft powers on, but they still need to open the hatch door. Zax volunteers to do the job, and he transforms into his demon form to forcefully open it. With Zack on top, their aircraft enters their target planet before Terminal informs them that they're falling. Their aircraft sinks, and Ren is drowning. A siren is coming towards him before he loses consciousness, and he wakes up in the real world, where he's greeted by Wuyu and Zax. Terminal shows them 2 spots on the map where parts of the new tenant's aircraft had landed. Meanwhile, back at the house, the 2 girls are having dinner, when suddenly, Lily faints before waking up, aggressive and not like herself. Vivian restrains her, and unbeknownst to them, the 2 guys are watching them from outside. At the first crash site, Zax dismantles the aircraft they found, but there's no sign of the tenant at all. Terminal figures that the tenant must be in the cargo cabin. To access the second spot at the bottom of the ocean, Wuyu jumps into the water and transforms into a mermaid. Wuyu can only accommodate 1 person to come with her, and Terminal urges Ren to go. Underwater, Wuyu uses her magic to make Ren breathe. They're chased by a large sea creature, but Wuyu fends it off with her octopus form. Using her mantis shrimp form, she takes him to the second crash site, where she then envelops the cargo cabin with her magic, creating an air pocket where they can breathe inside. However, they don't see anyone. Confused, Ren calls Raven while Wuyu finds a pod with the baby products and a ball in it. Raven reveals that the ball is actually an egg, and Wuyu drops it much to their horror. Fortunately, the egg seems alright. Later, they're fetched by Raven in his spacecraft. She reveals that their new tenant is a mermaid egg who is the sole survivor of a collapsed universe. The trio returns only to find their home is ravaged. Vivian shows up with a tied-up Lily, and the former reveals that the latter is acting weird. Lily escapes her restraints and tries to attack them, but Ren uses his shield. Zax captures Lily, and they take her to Raven, who then examines her. Raven then reveals that the wolf girl is displaying signs of evolving and is about to awaken a new ability, but she has to transform into her wolf form for a while for it to happen. They try to figure out what triggered her evolution sooner than expected, when Raven mentions that Lily's race is sensitive to moonlight, making Ren recall the blood moon that Vivian summoned back in England. They bring her to the enhancement center, where she finally wakes to her normal self. When Ren reports back alone to Raven, she tells him that Lily will have her next fit tomorrow, on the night of the full moon. She asks him to take care of her with the other tenants' help. The next night, Ren and his tenants go camping in a deserted area to wait for Lily to start transforming. Ren is woken up from his sleep by her howls, while the others are already up. Inside Zack's defensive barrier, the group watches Lily as she transforms into a big Siberian husky. She recognizes Ren, but still, she continues to howl. To calm her down, Vivian throws a pill she made straight into Lily's mouth, but it has the opposite effect as she runs straight into town. Zax tries to stop, but he only gets swatted away. Vivian imprisons her with her powers while Ren drops on her from above to reason with her. They're saved when Wuyu uses her siren voice to calm Lily down, and finally, she sleeps. In the morning, Ren settles Lily into her usual spot at the house before he's knocked out by 2 guys. In her dreams, Lily summons ice claws on her left hand and fire claws on her right. She wakes up and soon discovers she's being imprisoned. 2 guys appear, saying they are her companions who had saved her from bewitchment. When she tries to leave, one of the men knocks her out. They spot one of Vivian's bats escaping, but they're too late to stop it. Back at their house, Ren wakes, and he tells everyone that he was knocked out by someone after bringing Lily home. The group figures out that she's been kidnapped, just as Vivian's bat, who is with Lily, comes back. She's unable to gain information from the bat as she's being blocked by a power. After having Terminal scan the bat for more information, they determine that Lily is being held in a steel plant. Ren knows of a place where she might be kept, and the group agrees to split into 2 teams. At the steel plant, the 2 guys secure the area. Ren and Vivian arrive, and they see the black fog enveloping the building. When the fog repels Vivian, she suggests that he try to bypass it as he might be immune to its powers, like what happened in Yorkford. She flies Ren up, but they're attacked by a guy, Ewan, who transforms into a werewolf. He and Vivian engage in a fight, where she injures him, and the guy realizes that he's facing the Countess of the Crimson Moon. Ren escapes the guy's attention and successfully bypasses the fog. Inside, he's immediately attacked by another werewolf, but his rigid shield protects him. Terminal suggests fighting back, but it's impossible for Ren. Unexpectedly, he unlocks one of his enhancements, agility, as he jumps far up near the ceiling. He triggers the fire sprinklers, making the werewolf lose his scent. Finally, he finds Lily. The two make their way out, but they're deterred by one of the werewolves. Ren questions him why they kidnapped Lily, but he denies kidnapping her, saying she's their companion who has been misled by the vampire. They're interrupted when a wall breaks, revealing Vivian and a defeated Ewan. The girls and the werewolves start to argue, and Ren calms everyone down. Later, they clear their misunderstandings. The werewolves reveal they're seeking companions as a prophesied day is coming. Suddenly, they're surrounded by demon hunters who point weapons at them. The leader of the demon hunters orders his men to attack Ren and the outcasts. Ren uses his shield to absorb attacks while Vivian distracts the hunters. The group escapes outside where the fighting continues. Ren faces off with a woman hunter, and he uses his abilities to defeat her. Meanwhile, the older wolf outcast gets shot while Ewan gets stabbed and ice forms on the side of his body. Ren arrives, followed by Lily. She uses her new powers and casts 2 tornadoes of ice and fire at their enemies before all of them escape. Later at the clearing, the older wolf outcast tells them that their activities of gathering other outcasts has been noticed by demon hunters. Wuyu and Zax show up, and upon noticing Ewan is badly hurt, Wuyu volunteers to heal him with her siren powers. The wolf outcast then explains to the group that they're gathering outcasts as the day of the return is approaching. It's a time when outcasts will regain their strength while the demon hunters decline. Just as Wuyu finishes healing Yuan, the leader of the demon hunters from earlier shows up. Zax tries to reason with him, but he continues to attack, though his knives dissolve when they hit the demon. Eventually, Zax shows the unreasonable hunter his powers before knocking him out. The 2 wolf outcasts leave, as they want to report to their clan what happened. Suddenly, the woman demon hunter takes Wuyu hostage. Another demon hunter, Nang, whom they met in England, appears and tells the woman he'll be taking the siren for trial. She yields as she needs to tend to her boss. After she leaves, Wuyu hits Nang, and she reveals that he's her big brother. Back at home, Nang confirms that he and Wuyu are blood relatives. Their father was a demon hunter while their mother is a siren. Wuyu assures them that her brother won't betray them. When Nang later answers the door, he gets into a fight with Yuan, before Zax stops them with his fists. Inside, the wolf outcasts say they want to recruit the whole group, while Vivian is doubtful of the prophecy. Yuan is convinced they should unite. He mentions Ren has a better chance of surviving if they fight demon hunters together, but Vivian says they can protect him with their powers. Suddenly, the lights go out and they discover they don't have water or gas too. Ren realizes he doesn't have money in his account, so the bills weren't paid. Vivian was in charge of the checkbook last time, so the money probably disappeared due to her bad luck. Depressed, Ren retires for the night, and the tenants become determined to help their landlord pay the bill. The next morning, Lily and the others work, while Ren visits Raven to ask her to lend him money, which she agrees to. He asks her if there's a way to resolve the conflicts between the outcasts and the demon hunters, as he's concerned for the safety of his tenants. Raven decides to let him investigate the dream dimension next time, so he can find his answers. Ren returns home and is surprised that they have electricity. They prepare him a feast, and they reveal that all of them helped to pay the bills. Later, he tells his tenants that he'll be going to the dream dimension to investigate, and everyone wants to come with him. When Ren finally remembers to introduce their newest tenant, he can't find the egg. The group discovers, to their horror, that Lily boiled their newest addition for her to eat.